Welcome back to another edition of Components Breakdown. Today we're going to take a look at the first expansion to one of the most celebrated releases of 2010, entitled 7 Wonders Leaders. This expansion to 7 Wonders offers players the opportunity to put well-known leaders at the head of their civilizations by introducing 40 new cards to the base game, which are comprised of 4 new guilds and 36 new white leader cards, for which the majority of the expansion's additional set of rules will address. The gameplay is slightly changed, but the victory conditions remain the same as those in the basic game. So let's briefly look at the game's new set of components and setup. Seven Wonders Leaders includes 1 new Wonder Board and corresponding card for Rome, which deals directly with the new abilities found in this expansion. There are also 40 new cards, 4 of which are new purple guilds, as well as 36 new white leader cards that allow players a chance to create a unique personality for their civilizations. Now, it needs to be noted that some of the new guilds can only be used when playing with the full complement of this expansion. Also included are 17 coins, each with a larger value of 6, and will simply be added to those coins that are already within the base game. Finally, there is a courtesan token, which will only be used when one of the new guilds is in play, and a new scoring tablet, which takes into account the new scoring options that are now earned by some of the game's leaders. The setup when playing with the full complement of this expansion has also slightly changed, taking into effect these simple rules. First, all 4 of the new purple guild cards will be added to those of the basic game. However, players will still add the same number to the Age 3 deck in accordance to the number of players that are participating. Second, each player will now start the game with 6 coins instead of 3. Let's briefly touch on the game's leaders and its corresponding phase. Since I've already explained the basic gameplay and mechanics in my previous 7 Wonders video review, I will spend this time just going over what additions have been added to the game. 7 Wonders Leaders now starts with what is called a Leaders phase, of which each player is dealt a hand of 4 leader cards, all of which are randomly distributed and kept secret, just as they were in the base game. Those leaders who are not dealt out simply return back to the game box. Each player must then secretly choose one of their 4 cards to keep, placing it face down in front of them and passing the other 3 to the player on their right. Players are going to continue this action of picking one card and passing until each player has thus created a new hand of 4 leaders, thus ending the leader phase and starting the actual game. Each of the 3 ages in 7 Wonders now begins with what is called the Recruitment phase. During this phase, each player will play one of their available leader cards, and just like the base game, these cards are chosen secretly by each player, then revealed simultaneously. And just like normal cards, leader cards can likewise be played in 3 different ways. First, the player can decide to pay the coin cost of that leader in order to recruit them, gaining whatever benefit that the leader allows. Second, the player may decide to build a stage of their wonder by placing their leader face down as a construction marker. Again, just like the base game, though the cost indicated on the wonder board must still be paid in order to build it. Third, the player can decide to discard a leader to gain 3 coins from the bank and add them to their treasury. Again, just like it is done within the base game. And remember, each of these 3 ages will now begin with this recruitment phase, meaning that each player will have 1 additional leader at the end of the game that will not be used. Now, I've kept this video short and to the point because I wanted to spend a little more time at the back end of this review discussing how I feel about the game in its current new format. I've had the opportunity to play it 6 times now, and I still don't feel like I've scratched the surface yet with some of the new strategies in the game, and that's more than likely due to the large amount of leaders who are included. One thing I've most certainly discovered though with this release, especially after playing the base game dozens and dozens of times now in the past, is that 7 Wonders Leaders seems to take a lot of the underutilized methods of winning and making them a more viable option, as well as introducing a variety of new and seemingly strange ways to effectively now compete in the game. Players with the right combination of leaders can gain a huge number of victory points from now amassing things like coins that weren't all that powerful in scoring during the base game, to even scoring points off collecting different sets of colored cards. In addition to points, players now have the opportunity from their leaders to find and gain resources and coins, as well as points through a larger spectrum of opportunities than what were available in just the base game, giving players more variety and options when drafting their civilizations through the 3 ages. But all of this does come at a very slight cost. With the addition of all the powerful new leaders in the game, it's become a little more random than it has in the past, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily broken or worsened by any means. Players who can best strategize during the leader phase at the start of the game will most certainly have an advantage going in, but being a game of drafting itself, powerful leaders don't always equate into powerful civilizations, which again brings me back to why 7 Wonders was in my top 10 games of 2010, and remains to be a game that I rarely if ever turn down playing. Even with the addition of this expansion, the game remains incredibly easy to play and teach, and although it is really a lighter, shorter style, civilization type of game, it has enough solid strategic choices in it to appeal to a large number of gamers out there. And with the addition of 2 new phases to the game's play length still remains short and quick to resolve, adding no more than just a few minutes to the entirety of the game. This is a really solid, fun, and well thought out release to one of the best games of 2010, and adds a level of enjoyment that will keep the game fresh and exciting for some time to come. So that is 7 Wonders Leaders. I am Jeremy Salinas, and thank you very much for watching.